price tag on it. Guyana's paying for all of that. And the difficulty with the environment is because it's out there, people don't see it. They don't believe that they're being affected. There has been an impact on the fisheries. Talk to the fishermen and they will tell you that the fishing has been affected. There has been an impact on bird life. Talk to the bird people and they will tell you that the flaring has had an impact on the birds. The bright lights have had an impact on them. Now, this might not sound very important, but at the moment, planet Earth is on the brink of a biodiversity catastrophe. The aim should be to protect biodiversity everywhere, not to destroy biodiversity in order to extract petroleum to sell on a market that is declining and where there is already more petroleum in production than the Earth can handle because there is a climate emergency.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Without further ado, let's get to the news in detail. The Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly was yesterday told that the Guyana Post Office Corporation is unable to account for hundreds of millions of dollars meant for the monthly payments of old age pension. The vexing issue was first raised by Auditor General in his 2016 report on government accounts, which had found that the payment vouchers could not be reconciled. Auditor General Deodat Sharma has since ordered that the accounts be closed in order to facilitate an in-depth reconciliation of the monies. The committee heard that the monies do not account for 1 year, but rather obtained over a number of years. But by 2016, the year under review, the amount had reached some $594 million. In other news, ICT technicians attached to Kaieteur News have detected what they have described as a collective and continued effort to bring down the website that appears to be well-funded. According to the publication's ICT chief, about a month ago, the technicians detected the distributed denial of service software, or DDoS, attempting to make the website inaccessible. It was explained that ordinarily these programs can be paid for on the dark web by companies offering such services for as little as $20. The aim of DDoS programs are meant to overwhelm them with more traffic than the server or network can accommodate. The technician said, however, that given the level and nature of the attacks, it appears to be a well-funded initiative. Similar attempts were being made to prevent access to the Kaieteur News online server during its reportage on Baishanlin and other such Chinese companies and their operations locally. The recent attacks, however, are more sophisticated and strategic. In other news, 2 teenagers are dead and several persons are injured after the bus in which they were traveling turned turtle several times at around 22:30 on Sunday along the Diamond Public Road, East Bank, Demerara. The bus was involved in the accident and was driven by 23-year-old Kevin Moore of 5-door Coker Dam, East Bank, Demerara. The deceased are 18-year-old Aliyah Edwards and 17-year-old Anthony Prasad, both of Land of Canaan. It is understood that the minibus was proceeding south along the eastern carriageway of the Diamond Public Road at a very fast rate when the driver lost control. The minibus reportedly turned turtle several times and eventually came to a halt in a southeastern direction. And moving on, the oil and gas branch of GAWU is ready to represent the local workers who have been fired from the Guyana Shore Base Incorporated after their complaints about unfavorable working conditions were published by Kaieteur News. Even as it described the workers' actions as justifiable, GAWU in a release highlighted the Prevention of Discrimination Act, which speaks to equal work for equal pay, and insisted that to do otherwise is a clear breach of the law. calling the company's decision to terminate the workers after highlighting their legitimate concerns as obnoxious and high-handed. Gao stated that it appears as though the shore-base's decision is an attempt to intimidate workers and continue its seemingly exploitative ways. And moving on, former inmate Raul Franklin, also known as Raul Dog, is currently a patient at the Georgetown Public Hospital after being shot Sunday evening. According to a police report, the 33-year-old ex-con was riding his pedal cycle, heading to a gambling shop at Sparendam squatting area on the east coast of the Marara, when he was confronted by the suspected shooter, who was identified by his pseudonyms Sad Killer and Dutchie. It was revealed that Franklin and the suspect are known to each other. Franklin claims that while he was on remand at the Lusignan prison, he met the suspect who would from time to time send him death threats. While on his way to the shop at 21 hours 45, the victim said that he was stopped by the suspect, who was on the access bridge to the squatting area at the time. The suspect then shot the victim, Raul Dog, to his right side hip. He then ran away in an unknown direction. And now let's tell you, ExxonMobil, with the support of the EPA, will be hosting the last two scoping meetings for the $900 million gas to energy project this week. On July 22nd at 16 hours or 4 p.m., a meeting would be held at the Potentia Primary School. The following day would see an engagement at Town Hall, Anna Regina, at 9 a.m. Several scoping meetings were held over the last few weeks to solicit issues or questions citizens desire to have ExxonMobil address and its environmental impact assessment for the project. The assessment is a process that involves evaluating the likely impacts of a proposed project or development while taking into account interrelated socioeconomic, cultural, and human health impacts, which are beneficial and adverse. And to wrap things up this evening, let's tell you that headed by transplant surgeon Dr. Kaieteur Prasad, the Georgetown Public Hospital on June 14th of this year performed the institution's first international kidney transplant procedure on Grenadian Dr. Jermaine Bristol. The successful procedure, which was regarded as a milestone, was conducted by Dr. Prasad and his team. An elated Dr. Bristol is now able to live a normal life again after her 19-year-old son, Jared Bristol, donated a kidney to facilitate the procedure. Dr. Bristol, during a press conference yesterday at the hospital, told members of the media that it has been a long and challenging journey since being diagnosed with kidney failure back in 2012. Since the kidney transplant procedure is not readily offered in Grenada, the doctor said that Guyana was highly recommended to her. Not only was the surgery being done for free in Guyana, the doctor noted that Dr. Prasad was also highly recommended of her.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com/radio.
The time has now moved on to 19 hours 6 in Guyana. Coming up next, a short presentation as usual from the publisher of the Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Lau, speaking on the oil and gas sector in Guyana, followed by the National Outlook with G.H.K. Lau.
Brothers and sisters of this beautiful country called Guyana, please listen to me carefully. Local content means Guyana must benefit first and foremost from every section of this oil sector. Wake up quickly. Please don't allow this country to become like Trinidad, African and Asian countries. Trinidad, after 100 years in the oil and gas business, is now sitting with a $22 million debt. The African and Asian countries going through worse than Trinidad with bigger debts on their backs. That tells a story, brothers and sisters. It tells us that they did not manage their affairs, their oil sector successfully. They made terrible mistakes, resulting in hundreds of millions of their people living in extreme poverty and starvation. I have begun seeing Guyana heading in that same direction with our oil. Brothers and sisters, let me be clear. Beside royalties and profit sharing, local content plays a significant role in our economy and our livelihoods. Huge money is there for our people and our country to benefit from. We have reported how the oil companies importing drinking water, paying huge sums when they should have been buying local water from places like banks DIH and DDL, so that our local companies can benefit. I don't know if they're still doing that. I am told they are importing foodstuff in the millions, which they can pick up right here in Guyana, but they are not. That is also money our people, our brothers and sisters is losing out on. That is local content money. The Guyanese people losing out on big time, guys. Now, we are told they are renting 24 supply boats at 55,000 American dollars per day, work or no work. We are paying heavy prices for other services too, like transportation, planes, helicopters, and so on. When I do the maths, with that 24 supply boats alone, Guyana, guys, we are paying 475 million American dollars in 1 year. You guys remember how much Guyana get from 2019 to 2020 from our oil? Yeah, man, we get 300 and something million dollars. And I only mention one expense is there, you know. The 25 boats, 1 year Guyana pay 475 million when we get 300 and something million. I mention this because these type of services, brothers and sisters, should have been taken up by local people, the Guyanese people, so that we can make some money. But it's not coming to us. No, it's not coming to me and you. Look, see whose services these services are given to. None of them is Guyanese. And the most hurtful part in all of this is that our leaders are the ones who are supposed to be authorizing and distributing these contracts. So let me ask, who is oil really benefiting? The Guyanese people or the foreigners? Or do you want us to become like Trinidad? Guys, like I said, please wake up, and wake up fast. This is a quick message from Glenn Lal. Please join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and let's continue this type of discussion.
It's Tuesday, July 20th. This is the National Outlook on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. I'm GHK Lal. It's good to be here with you. I hope you've had a good start to the week. You know, we've had our floods, and I thought it would be timely to talk a little bit about this topic that I've selected for today. It certainly has national reach, national impact, national implications. Agriculture. I look around, I read, I listen, and everywhere I read, it's about agriculture and money. Every day in the papers, almost every day, there is some news impacting the agricultural sector. And it usually involves money, some positive development, which I welcome, which we all should welcome. And why I mentioned flooding earlier is because we know from visiting the marketplaces what has happened to prices, what has happened to the availability. Things are there, but I don't think, my little layman's observation, that they are as abundant as before. After all, lots of land, farmland, is underwater. Lots of people are trying to get their homes dry and keep their livestock safe, and they've taken some brutal losses. Anyhow, agriculture, one day there were about 3 articles. 74.4 million in equipment commissioned to boost agricultural sector. That was one headline, and I say, good. Then another day, 58 million for increased shrimp production in Region 6. Good again. Another day, MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, signed between agriculture and tourism for agri-tourism uplift. And it goes on and on. Here's another one. Agri-Ministry receives seeds, planting materials from Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture as part of flood relief assistance. Agri-Ministry's extension arm being reorganized to ensure efficiency. Those are all positive news. I welcome them, I embrace them, and we all should, because it should mean ultimately we have more variety, we have more availability, and we are able to access more items because they fit within our pocketbook. And so I'm glad to see that. On the other hand, it seems that year after year, think about this, my fellow Guyanese, my fellow shoppers for greens and fruits and vegetables and the like, it seems that year after year, we are plugging a whole set of money, a whole set of millions, government after government, year after year, into the agricultural sector. And somehow, at the drop of a hat, there's scarcity and there are price pressures, meaning that not the people in their cars and who have 2-3 cars in their yards, but the ordinary Guyanese in the street. Some things are just out of reach now because prices of not 1 or 2, but several items have crept up, have steepened simultaneously. So they are made to feel that. I'm saying, where are the returns from these things? I know it's dependent on the weather and the vagaries of the weather and all of that business. But the bottom line is we really should be getting more out of what we're putting into the agricultural sector. I like these developments, as I'm saying for about the 3rd or 4th time here today. But are we getting the fullness of the returns? Or to put it a little bit more darkly, are these monies being put to the best use? Are they being put to the fullest use so that we, the citizens, can benefit from it? Think about that. It affects you. It affects your community and family, and it affects the country. Until the next time, I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This was the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo, 99.1 FM.
Berbice, 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation